All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 6:03.
I'd like to call to order the August meeting of the Redevelopment Commission of the City of New Bern. Would you call the roll?
Absolutely. Commissioner Sharon Bryan.
Present.
Commissioner Beth Walker.
I'm here.
Commissioner Sarah Proctor. Commissioner Leander Morgan. Commissioner Steve Strickland.
Here.
Commissioner Julius Parham.
Here.
Commissioner Tabari Wallace. Commissioner Dillahunt.
Here.
Madam Attorney, we have...
I'm here too.
Did I not say you?
He's over on the right side.
Oh. Commissioner Kit Paraguay.
Well, since I've got to run the meeting this evening, it would be nice if I was here.
Oh.
That works. Thank you. We do have a quorum.
Yes.
For those watching on TV and those in the audience, the New Bern Redevelopment Commission is a public body appointed by the Board of Aldermen of the City of New Bern. It is a public body governed by the North Carolina General Statutes. The Redevelopment Commission has been tasked with designing and implementing a comprehensive plan to address blighted parcels as well as public health, safety, and the general welfare of citizens within the redevelopment area. And we will be dealing with some of those issues this evening. The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes, starting with June 14th, June 28th, and July 12th. I would recommend that we take them one at a time, starting with June 14th.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as presented for June 14th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? June 14th minutes are approved. June 28th minutes. Are there any corrections or additions? I would like to make note that I was not in attendance at that meeting, and it's not listed that I was absent.
Okay. And I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented with the correction that our chairperson was absent at the meeting.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further comments about the minutes? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The June 28th minutes are approved. July 12th minutes. I would like to again have them corrected that I was not present at that meeting either. Are there any other corrections to the minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
With the necessary correction that co-chair Kip Paragore was absent.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion about the minutes? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. The July 12th minutes are hereby approved. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. You all got the agenda last Friday, I believe, and had an opportunity to look at it. Is there a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting?
Move to approve the agenda. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Likewise, a negative vote? Nope. Agenda is approved and we will proceed with our meeting. The next item on the agenda, number 5, is the guiding principles. And we will start with Mr. Strickland and work around the board reading the guiding principles.
Past, present, future, equal time.
Respect others' opinion.
Listen to build consensus.
share accurate information, public perception.
I'll take number
Yeah.
5. Stay focused, be action-oriented.
And all of us together.
Believe.
Believe. Okay, we now have the opportunity to hear from the public, with public comment period. Everybody is limited to 4 minutes. And if you would like to address the commission, please step to the podium, state your name and address.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Agape Adams. Address? Our public address?
Yeah.
Well, I currently live at 108 Rose Garden Courts. It's in Bryce Creek. But I do have a home in Duffy Fields proper on Mechanic Street, 1214 Mechanic Street, that I do not live at currently. But I wanted to state that because that is why I'm interested in this development commission. I used to live there for several years with my parents, and ever since coming into the community, I have been having a strong desire to help revitalize that area, to turn it from a blighted community into, quite frankly, a Disney World. That's my dream. That's what I would love to see there. I want it to be infused with beauty and everything like that. I'm going to move back in there myself once our home is renovated. So I just wanted to, I had a desire to be a part of the board as well, so welcome, Mr. Dillahunt. Happy that you have the seat. But I want to let you guys know that I want to be of service. Any way that I can be of service, please do not hesitate to contact me. I will give the city clerk my information so that you guys can be emailed that yourselves. So that's really all. I just wanted to introduce myself to you fine ladies and gentlemen. I just have the utmost respect for what you're doing here. I just think the city, wow, 2 thumbs, 3 thumbs up, all the thumbs up for the city and wanting to do something with that area over there. So I really appreciate you guys getting together, spending your free time as volunteers, helping a blighted area in our community thrive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. Is there anyone else that would like to address the commission today?
Commission, Marvin Williams, Assistant City Manager for New Bern. What I just want to pass along some information about Caper Park has a public input meeting that's going to occur on Monday, August the 14th at 5:30 p.m. at the Omega Center. It's going to be an opportunity for the Old North State League. It's interested in leasing the park for a summer collegiate wooden bat league, and you're going to have the representatives from Old North State. They're going to come there and do a presentation and answer any questions regarding what they plan on doing with the park. And I have some flyers here for you all if you all desire to have one for further information.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
All right. And they will also be doing a survey while they're there just to get the public input as to what their desire is regarding their proposal for that area. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak to the commission this evening? Okay, if not, thank you for all being here, and thank you for your comments. Item number 7 on the agenda this evening is consider a resolution approving the purchase of 209 Bryan and 821 West Street. A little bit of history there is these properties were presented by Mr. Diggs. They're desiring to acquire them, I don't know, probably 8 months ago. And they've been totally through the process of the redevelopment commission's processes, and they have been through the upset bid process. So everything is in order for Mr. Diggs to purchase these properties. You have deeds and resolutions in front of you this evening to convey these properties to Mr. Diggs. If you remember, Mr. Diggs is going to be building residential property on both of these lots, and there are restrictive covenants placed on the deeds that require him to do so on one lot within 12 months and on another lot within 24 months.
Mr. Vice Chair, just so that you might note, the statute requires that the Board of Aldermen approve of the sale before it can be completed. So if you are inclined to approve the resolutions before you tonight, this matter will go before the Board of Aldermen on the August 22nd meeting, and subject to their approval, the presiding officers or the officers for the commission at that time can execute the deeds and schedule a closing with Mr. Diggs.
A question, do we need to approve one at a time, or can we approve both lots at the same time?
You can approve both resolutions at the same time, so long as the vote is unanimous.
Okay. Any other discussion amongst the board about the resolutions and the property that is going to be conveyed to Mr. Diggs?
No excuse for my not knowing, but what's the purchase price?
The purchase price is in your packet. I think it was like $5,000 for one.
One property is $5,560, I believe.
Six-
No, $5,650, and the other is $3,000. And Mr. Diggs, as is indicating in your resolution, was the final highest bidder through the upset bid process.
And I assume that's going on with
Sure.
appraised value of the county. It's in line with
Yes,
that.
based on tax value and our guidelines that we have within the redevelopment commission is 75% of appraised tax value.
Okay,
That's the minimum bid.
okay.
Okay.
Would you like a roll call?
No, we will if we get a motion to approve the resolutions.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolutions for the conveyance of 821 West Street and 209 Bryan Street to Mr. Charles Diggs. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll have a roll call.
Okay. Commissioner Strickland,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Parham,
Yes.
Commissioner Peregrine,
Yes.
Commissioner Dillahunt,
Yes,
Commissioner Walker.
Yes.
The vote is unanimous.
Okay, thank you all. Next agenda item is a presentation by Mr. Beck to about 817 Murray Street.
Hello, everyone. I know it was going to be I said a verbal presentation, but I made a couple of drawings. And I brought 3 of them. If anyone wants to have a look-see. They're rough, but they're there. So, but my name is Justin Beck. I recently moved back from California. I spent about 8.5 years in the military over there. I lived downtown. I could walk out my front door and there was 7-Eleven, and if I walked around the corner, there was a grocery store. And I just moved out to Fairfield Harbor because I thought that was where I wanted to live. That's not it. Because my parents were out there, and I spent since about September living out there with them, and I liked the community, but after living kind of more by myself and close by, I'm like, I don't want to be as close to them either. So I started looking around, and I was like, I wouldn't mind living downtown. So I got with my realtor, and she turned me on to city and county-owned properties, and I was like, well, I'll try my hand at trying to snag one of these. So I looked around, and I was like, that looks like a nice one. So, because it's big enough, because I've looked at several lots around here, and they're like 0.11 or something acres, and it's like, what can you really do with it with the restrictions that the city has without asking for a variance, of course. So I was wanting to build myself a little home downtown with maybe a little room to grow, because it'll have, as you see, maybe a little bit basement or a loft area. So just looking for something for myself.
Okay. Does the board have questions for Mr. Beck? Mr. Beck, You just mentioned a basement. Are you aware of the topography and the elevation of that lot?
Yeah, I've looked at the elevation, the flood, I've looked across the street, a couple of the houses have been raised in the area, and it's looking like maybe about a 6 to 7 foot flood elevation just to be able to build the house at that level, so I was thinking, why not go another foot or two and throw in a garage underneath, but, I mean, it's just thinking ideas so far, because, I mean, nothing's concrete yet, so.
Okay, I mean, the flood elevation is at 9 feet in that area, and that lot is about 5 feet in elevation, so you will have to build it up, and you show that on your plans.
And my dad was talking to me earlier, he's like, well, maybe we could do stick built. I was like, the block would be better in case the flood does come through. He was like, oh, yeah, okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Beck from the commission? Okay, the process that we should enter into now, based on current policy of the Real Estate Commission, is that your request will be referred to the Housing Work Group, and they will come back at the next meeting with a recommendation to the full commission, whether it's advisable to proceed with the upset bid process on this particular piece of property.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
Okay?
And for discussion, I'm sorry, this is owned by the city and county right now?
Yes.
Or-
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So we would just be making a recommendation to the city and county that they initiate the upset bid contract?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Beck.
Thank you very much. Y'all have a good one.
Okay.
This is true.
Is the city's policy right now 50%?
Yes, sir. The city and county generally require 50% of the assessed tax value as the initial bid.
Okay, next agenda item is the Housing Work Group report. And it is in your packet. You have it. The Housing Work Group met on the 27th of July to go through a number of issues that have been referred to it. We discussed the request by Ms. Jackie London to purchase 1305 Main Street, and you see that that is our recommendation. Based on the fact that it looks good, but there's never been a formal offer made, but I think it has now. Is that correct?
That's correct. As of the work group, the formal offer had not been made, but the presentation had. She has now made the offer, and since it's already been referred to the work group, it is now available to, you all could make the recommendation to begin the upset bid process so that she could proceed.
Okay. And a little bit of history, the original presentation that she made to the board was back last October, I believe.
Almost a year.
And,
See, it's been almost a year now.
yeah, and it got lost in the processes going around at that time. But now that she has made that formal offer to purchase, and she has made the presentation, and we have, the Housing Work Group has looked at it, we, as the Housing Work Group, recommend that we proceed with the upset bid process on this particular piece of property. You see comments about Mr. Beck's presentation. Again, we were waiting for him to do the formal presentation so we can follow up with an official recommendation coming out of the Housing Work Group at our next meeting. We discussed the presentation made by Mr. Stewart to purchase 1101 Main Street. Property is owned by the city. The Housing Work Group recommends that the commission request the property be transferred to the Redevelopment Commission so that protective covenants can be attached to the property. Covenants would include restricting the property to residential use and construction timeline, like those that we just applied to the deeds that we did with Mr. Diggs. The city is the current owner of the lot. They cannot attach covenants. Only the redevelopment commission can attach covenants to a deed. Therefore, that is why we base our request that city transfer that piece of property to us so that that process can take place.
Is that a course of action we can take now, since we've discussed it, that as the board, we can ask staff to do that? Or do we need a resolution for that?
Yes, ma'am. Your policy that you've adopted indicates that you have a few options. One of those options is to request title be conveyed from the city and county, or the city in this case, to this commission. And I believe that before you tonight, there are 2 resolutions regarding 1101 Main Street. One is labeled option A, which is one of the 2 options I've just forecasted, and the other is option B. So you have those resolutions before you tonight, and you can adopt either one, not both. But they reflect the options that Mr. Vice Chair just articulated.
And I believe we don't need necessarily a resolution or a vote, just we need consensus to give staff direction.
I would recommend voting to adopt that resolution.
Yeah,
because if
the
you're making-
resolution's before us, so
Correct. So there's a document that can be presented to the board that articulates your request.
Okay.
this is an actionable item for the board this evening, so if the board commission request, we can have a vote on that right now to adopt one of the 2 resolutions that have been presented to us.
Where is, where is your first resolution, Kip? There's more resolutions in front.
There's option A and option B here.
It's actually in the agenda packet.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so option A is that we're recommending the city county initiate the bid. And option B is we're recommending they convey it to us so that we can put restrictions on it and then start the bid process.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the recommendation of the work group was option B, I believe.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's correct.
Make a motion to adopt, option B as a resolution to present to the city council.
Second.
Okay, we have an option, a motion and a second to adopt option B concerning the property at 1101 Main Street. Any further discussion amongst the board? If not, we will need a roll call on this, I believe.
Okay. Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Commissioner Dillahunt,
Yes.
Commissioner Paraguay,
Yes.
Commissioner Parham,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Strickland.
Yes.
It is unanimous.
Okay, the next item that the housing work group dealt with was a conversation on updates of different projects. The first one was Mr. Diggs that we have already approved, so that's all taken care of. The transfer of 911 Eubank Street and related transfer of the Redevelopment Commission lots across the street was discussed and supported by the housing work group. Resolutions should be and are added to the packet this evening. So action can be taken this evening again to move that property over to Habitat for Humanity if the board so desires.
And just as a point of clarity, Mr. Vice Chair, as I discussed with the properties that were conveyed or going to be conveyed to Mr. Diggs, this transaction would also require Board of Alderman approval.
Mr. Chairman, to eliminate any discussion or outcry, I'm not going to vote on this issue based on the fact that as of 2 days ago, I was a member of the board of directors for Habitat, so I want to be safe in that. I don't want to,
Okay.
be front page.
So,
Very good, thank you.
Mr. Chair, you'll need to entertain a motion to recuse Mr. Parham based on his interest.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to recuse Mr. Parham from voting on this resolution. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you're recused from voting on this particular issue.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, we have before us how we want to proceed with the resolutions to transfer properties on Eubank Street to Habitat for Humanity.
Mr. Vice Chair, I would recommend handling this item in 2 steps. There are, I believe, 3 lots that are owned by the Redevelopment Commission. 1 contains a structure, 2 are vacant lots. I would recommend that you take action on all the Redevelopment Commission-owned lots first, and then after that, take any action that you might want to as it relates to a recommendation to the Board of Aldermen in Craven County about the lot that they own across the street.
Okay. Good legal advice. So, well, let's talk.
Like to make-
Okay.
Do we need to talk, or can I
No,
make a
that's-
motion
we'll
that
talk after you
we-
make the motion.
That we transfer the properties that the redevelopment commission owns to Habitat for Humanity?
That's a motion.
That's the motion.
That's a motion.
That's the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Now we need discussion.
Now we need to
apparently.
discuss this. There seems to me to be a need for a little bit of discussion about this. So the time is now to make feelings known.
I think I've been very vocal along the way that I take some umbrage with trying to give someone 1 piece of property and being asked for 2 more, even though we achieved them at no cost to us by virtue of the transfers. But with that said, as a part of the greater good and this feeling like the best way going forward, that's why the second was there. But we'll still voice that hesitation.
And I think at the last meeting, you also discussed such things as some payment for the lots, the vacant lots that were, that they're requesting that we transfer to them. Okay. Any other discussion about the motion?
I made the motion because I was undecided until I heard the Habitat presentation at our last meeting, and had not considered the fact that that type of development does better with a group of houses that are the same. And so that was convincing to me. Like you said, we didn't have to buy that property either, and it does seem like they would be willing to take action. With this motion, can we set contingency that they do build in a certain amount of time?
That's a good question, Commissioner Walker. So also attached to the deed that you would be approving is a transfer and reversion agreement. And it sets out the terms and conditions that this conveyance is subject to. So specifically in that document, if you flip to page 2 of 7, you will see that there are a number of restrictions, chiefly among them that the properties must be developed and sold to at low cost with low interest to qualifying low to moderate income persons. That Habitat has to provide you with an audit evidencing that they comply with those conditions every fiscal year. And that Habitat must obtain building permits to construct single-family residences within 12 months of the closing date. So they have to at least pull the permits within a year. They have 24 months to complete construction. That's not to begin, that's to complete. And if they fail to abide by those conditions, unless you all grant some type of extension or waiver, then title to the properties will revert back to this commission.
I think that is important to know as well. I feel like we feel better having that contingency on there.
And I also will add to that conversation that when we got those properties from the county, there was, city county owned, and they were on that list of 10, that there was caveats attached to that deed to us that we had to do something within a certain time period to achieve our goals of providing housing in the redevelopment area. So, and I think by doing this, we're not only achieving that goal of providing housing, but we're also showing the county that we are also being responsive to their transfer of property to us, so that maybe in the future, if there's additional county properties that we would like to acquire, that they would look favorably upon that, if we have a good track record.
We are giving Habitat the ability to fulfill our good faith effort to get
Yes.
these lots developed.
Do we recall what the timeline was with the county for something needing to be done?
I think it was 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what it was. We started out a little bit tighter than that, but I think Jamie did a great job in recrafting that agreement.
I'm just double checking to make sure that us giving 24 months is not
No,
going to,
that's-
outside of the window.
But thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, for that wonderful compliment. I don't remember the deadline. However, I don't think that the timeframe that we forecasted to Habitat would be problematic.
Okay, we've had a motion and a second. We've had robust conversation. I think it's time to call the vote. Roll call?
All right. Commissioner Strickland,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Parham is recused, sorry. Commissioner Paraguay,
Yes.
Commissioner Dillahunt,
Yes.
and Commissioner Walker.
Yes.
The next action you might consider, Mr. Vice Chair, is the lot across the street from the Eubanks House that is owned by Craven County and the city of New Bern. Since you don't own that property, you can't sell it, you can't convey it, you can't donate it. However, the entities that own it can. So you have the opportunity tonight to recommend to Craven County and the city of New Bern that they consider donating their interest in that property to Habitat as well, consistent with the campus that Habitat has requested.
Okay, that's the second part of this whole transfer that Jamie described to us a little bit ago. So we're dealing with, and this is a real, we talk about it being a sliver. It is truly a sliver of land.
Small piece.
Yeah.
So it's really just going to be a connector to the lots that we
Yeah,
already
to the-
have
That's
transferred.
correct. That's correct. So we would entertain a motion to
Adopt a resolution.
adopt the resolution that recommends to the county and the city that they transfer their property to Craven County, to Habitat for Humanity.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion about the sliver of land? Hearing no discussion, roll call, please.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Commissioner Dillahunt,
Yes.
Commissioner Paraguay,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Strickland.
Yes.
Motion passes. Another item that we talked about at the Housing Work Group was the Jones Street project, and that has been, specifications for that project, both for the housing and the site work, have been created and turned over to the city purchasing department. And that's as far as I know. I do know that the purchasing department has transferred responsibility for putting that package together to the city engineer. And he is working on that, and I will be meeting with him on Friday afternoon. Ms. Walker, I hope, will join us to review the package that the city is putting together, make sure it is consistent with the plans that we've always been working with on the development of the Jones Street property.
Quick question, Bill.
Mhm.
The plan that you're coming up with, housing that you're gonna present, will that plan, is that plan to be put out for bid for anyone to develop it, or are we committed to one person already doing it?
No, it will go, we will be soliciting bids.
Gotcha, okay, that sounds
Yeah.
good deal. Okay, we're good, thank you. Okay.
And how many properties are there on Jones Street?
The original property was subdivided into 3
Three lots?
properties, yes.
Okay. Now, your means of putting properties up is, what, since we don't have a regular newspaper?
Yeah, that's
I
true.
didn't catch the first part. How are we going to advertise?
Yeah, how you gonna do your advertising?
The advertising will be done by solicitation. The project is projected to come in under $500,000. Therefore, there is not a formal bidding process as required by statute. So it will be bid by invitation.
Now, do you have a invite list per se of general contractors in the area?
Uh,
Something new to me, I'm just trying to get
Yeah, no.
updated on.
We
what's going on.
have contractors that we've worked with in the past. We've had contractors that have looked at this project and have given us cost estimates already so that we can devise a budget. And the gentleman that did all the work for us on the Eubank Street house we'll get at least 3 bids, invitations out to qualified bidders based on our recommendation of who the bidders are and their qualifications.
And as this is
But if
publicly
you'd like to add somebody,
broadcast,
yeah.
it is a great opportunity to say anyone who's interested to send their interest information as a contractor to ZPUF. Is that
Yeah.
fair?
Mhm. Okay, so that's where we are on Jones Street. We discussed the proposed changes to the existing purchasing process that was submitted at the last meeting. There was not a consensus amongst the housing work group as to whether the change was good or bad. There was concern that instantaneous response, that there might not be sufficient time for fact gathering prior to the meeting, and other factors can weigh into that. So it's up for discussion. And we took no position as to whether it was good or bad. It just needs to be something that's hashed out within the context of the entire commission.
And Mr. Vice Chair, before you begin your hashing process, you can entertain a motion to reinstate Commissioner Parham since he was recused.
Do we have to?
You
I just thought it was for that one, I am for the whole meeting.
You're right. Thank you.
I make a motion that Mr. Barr be reinstated.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor
Thank you,
signify
Jim.
by saying aye.
Aye.
Like opposed? Welcome back.
Thank you.
And Mr. Vice Chair, just to speak to one of the concerns, I think, from the working group is that any time with any agenda item before you, if you have concerns or reservations or need additional information, you always have the ability to move to table an item to a date certain for you to investigate, ruminate, or gather any information that you might need before taking any action.
So when that particular topic comes up again, reiterate that, okay? Okay, that's the housing work group report for this month.
Just to be clear, Mr. Vice Chair, you gave an update regarding Ms. Jackie London's request for the property on Main Street. Is
Mhm.
the commission going to take any action to initiate the upset bid process for that property? If so, that would require a motion.
Yeah, that's right. Because it has unfolded in an interesting process, kind of convoluted to what the normal process is, but
So the motion would be to initiate the upset bid process for 1307 Main Street.
1305.
I believe she lives at 1305, but the property that you all own is 1307.
13, okay.
I say so moved. For that?
yeah, that was recommended by the housing work group.
feel like that one's been on the agenda for a long time, and I honestly thought we had already agreed on everything. It was just waiting for process.
Right.
So I'd like to make it formal and make a motion that we initiate the upset bid process for this property.
1307 Main.
Mhm.
Okay. Second.
You have a motion and second. Any other comments? If not, roll call.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Commissioner Strickland,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Parham,
Yes.
Commissioner Paraguay,
Yes.
Commissioner Dillahunt,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Next item on the agenda is an update of the current landscape of the redevelopment commission. That's, Commissioner Morgan brought this up. And
Yeah.
Zep, do you have anything to share with us
Yeah,
on behalf
unfortunately,
of Mr. Morgan?
yes, unfortunately, Mr. Morgan could not be with us today due to an emergency. He did just want to point out the deep gratitude and congratulations to the city for the Standing White Recreation Center that took place on Friday, August 4th. He wanted to congratulate the city on the infrastructure project and the paving and the resurfacing on Main and Raleigh and Washington streets. And was very, very sorry to not be here, but very, very optimistic and enthusiastic and giving gratitude to the city and especially New Bern Parks and Recs and Public Works for really making a difference in the redevelopment zone. And so he wanted to say thanks.
Okay.
And that is his report.
Okay. Next agenda item is new business. Does any commissioner have new business to bring before the commission this evening?
Oh, are we still planning to have a retreat?
Well, we're going to have that in the consultant's
Okay.
report.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
I was giving the commission first shot at this.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, Zeb?
Thank you. Thank you all for being here tonight. I wanted to just update you on a couple of items and talk to you about a couple of things that are still in process. The commission adopted a resolution to recommend the transfer of the Bloomfield parcel with the Wellness Center back to the city, along with any balance of funds that existed. Last night, the Board of Aldermen accepted the transfer and is planning to get started as soon as possible. And so the Wellness Center lives on and is moving on very well. As you mentioned, the Redevelopment Commission retreat is being planned. Since our last meeting, I was able to contact the Executive Director of the Greensboro Redevelopment Commission and have been in conversation with her to see what viable dates are available in the fourth quarter on Saturdays. I also contacted Tara Kenshin to get a sense of viable dates to propose to the commission as well. In the coming days, I will be sending out a doodle poll with those dates. I wanted to make sure that we had facilitators to actually facilitate the conversations we discussed before we all decided on a date that no one else could come to. You will also note that the insurance quotes are not in your are not on the agenda this evening. We are in process with our insurance partner and the Public Works Department in getting the applications processed. The applications have finally been completed, and they will be given to the insurance company before tonight is over with. Just for some background on that, prior to this, the Redevelopment Commission didn't have insurance policies of its own, and so working out the groundwork to establish the policies is what has caused the delay. And then, as has already been mentioned, you will note that the rules and procedures are not on this agenda. At our last meeting, a formal document was sent to the commission for review. To date, I haven't received any feedback on that 16-page document. That being the case, I'd like to recommend to the commission that you consider the document as is, as Jamie and I gave it to you, or however, I got the sense last time that there was some changes that you'd like to recommend, so I would request that you review the document and send those changes to my attention as soon as possible so we can get it back on the agenda. And also, last thing, I've received the year-to-date budget from finance, and as soon as I make sense of it and can speak educatedly about it, I'll disperse that to you all and get it on an agenda so that we can get a finance update as was requested at our last meeting. And that is my report.
Thank you so much. Appreciate all those updates. You've been busy.
I did have one more thing. I need to say welcome to the commission, right? Is that what we're, yeah. Welcome to the commission, Commissioner Dillahunt. We're really happy you're here.
All right. The last item on the agenda is the changing of the guard, so to speak. This meeting was designated as the date that we would elect new chair and vice chair for the upcoming year. Ballots have been enclosed, and this process was approved at the last meeting, so we're just in the process. You have the ballot. We can mark them, and Zed can collect them and do a tally, and then we'll be ready to go for the next meeting with.
Yes, sir, and I will add that I would request that you would write your name on your ballot. We cannot do a secret ballot as a public body, and your ballot is a public document. So you may indicate your vote, or whatever else that you like, but it will be retained for posterity. Just keep that in mind.
That's what the line is there for.
Did you find the ballot, Jimmy?
No,
Should be the last sheet of paper in there.
I think I need to excuse myself a bit.
Okay.
Not knowing.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, everybody?
You know, then I paid some extra too much.
Well, ballots are being cast. Does anyone know the reason for us to go into closed session this evening?
No, sir.
Okay?
The primary account that we have in bylaw regulations, that it will,
Yeah. We talked about that document. There's a 16-page document that Jamie did at the last meeting about how we operate. That we'll get to you. We just need to get,
yeah, just make,
we need to get you a book put together to get you orientation. Don't be critical now.
I'm not using no voting machine.
You got jokes. Sam, take your time.
Sorry,
That's all right, take your time.
just wanted to make sure I was correct.
Okay.
According to your ballots, I'd like to congratulate Commissioner Beth Walker as your new chair and Commissioner Kip Paraguay as your vice chair.
Okay, good deal.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Is there, can we extract a motion to adjourn from the commission?
So moves.
Second.
And a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
That's
Sharon.
right.
Let's go.
I did not hear you say aye.
Oh,
Thank you all for coming this evening.